Well, we can all remember when COVID hit and it was just chaos. And I realize a lot of people died from it that really shouldn't have died from it. But my wife almost died from it. She was in the hospital 19 days. She had COVID pneumonia. It was terrible. I almost lost her. Thank God I didn't. So I have my own opinions about COVID, but it was a huge, large, clustered mess. And after COVID, we all wanted to get back to something, but we'll never get back to normal. Only the next thing we will get back to, but we'll never get back to normal after COVID. Today, we're going to be talking about what's next, embracing the future of success. Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. Okay, welcome back to the Greg McAfee Show, where we discuss steps to successful entrepreneurship, how to take your business to new heights, and ultimately follow your dreams. Today, we're going to be talking about what's next. Embracing the future of success. You know, normal is the comfort zone of complacency. What's next is the playground of overachievers. If you're only worrying about getting back to normal, if something happened to you and you have to get back to normal, you really never get back to normal. It's only next. I've had several injuries. I've had several surgeries. I wish I could get back to normal like I was when I was 25 or 30 years old, but that will never happen. But what's next is the next best thing I can do for myself. I work out, I eat better, I exercise, all those types of things, but I'll never get back to, quote, normal. And when things happen in our business, we rarely have the opportunity to get back to normal. When people leave, they quit, and we had a system. I mean, some people have been here, honestly, some people have been here 10 plus years, 15, and they left. And we had a really good system with those people. And after they left, a lot of times I'd say, I just wish we could get back to normal. But there is no normal. It's only next with the new people. So I want to talk about 5 things here today on normal versus next. And the first one is innovation and creativity. When we focus on the next, we are usually innovators. We're constantly thinking about what can we do next, not worrying about what happened yesterday and trying to get back to normal, because that's impossible. If you sit around thinking, how can I get back to normal, you're going to be very disappointed. But if you look at things as what's next, you're going to be more innovative. And we think outside the box. These types of people think outside the box and bring new ideas and solutions to old problems. And that's very rare today. If you could hire someone like that, do your best to keep them. It's extremely rare. It's extremely rare among entrepreneurs besides employees or your team. And number 2, proactive adaptation. You see, by anticipating future trends and changes, we can adapt proactively rather than reactively. You know, I told you for years and years ago, we were out of the garage, meaning we worked in our garage we worked at a kitchen table for a year, and then we worked at in a garage office for about 6.5 years, and then we moved into our first building, which I built, bought the property, built the building. It was 11,000 square feet. We took 3,500 of the back, leased out the front. But we were in that building, and we realized our phone's not ringing all the time. And we're sitting around, watching it, waiting for it to ring. And we'd pick up the phone every once in a while, make sure it had a dial tone. That was being extremely reactive. It was only when we became proactive where we started calling people and getting them on the list, reminding them of their checkup, reminding them of what their filter needs changed, all those types of things. We became proactive. Now, this foresight, you say, well, that's simple. That's simple. Why weren't you doing that? We didn't know what we didn't know. We were waiting for our phone to ring. We were very motivated for our phone to ring and get a call. That's just the way it is. I know a lot of companies have done the same thing. But this foresight allows us to be ahead of the curve, preparing for new challenges and opportunities. And that's what reactiveness does not get you. Reactiveness actually will take you out of business if you react too long. But proact, there you go. You're going to keep going. Number 3, leadership and influence. I'm talking to a lot of heating and air, plumbing, trade companies, home improvement companies where you are the leader. Do you realize how much influence you have? Because visionaries who focus on what could be rather than what is become extremely stronger leaders. And we can inspire others to look forward to the next, not just the norm. So not only does it pay off for you and pay off for your company, but you're teaching your team how to do the same thing. Because most of the time we all go around in life, we don't know what we don't know, and we all go around in life thinking, I just wish we could get back to normal. But normal never happens, okay? You know, for some people, they've lost a loved one. They want to get back to normal, but normal never happens. For some people, rather, they lose their home or lose their job, and they just want to get back to normal, but normal never happens. It's only next. And then you've got resilience to failure. When we are focused on the future, we often have a greater tolerance for failure. I'll tell you, the people who have the tolerance for failure always achieve more. They're always at the top of the mountain. They're always making things happen. You know why? Because they don't get discouraged when they fail. Failure is part of life. Failure is part of success. It is the next level from success. Nobody just gets successful on the first time up the bat. You've got to strike out a few times. You've got to get a single a few times. The more you swing, the better chances you have. Okay? So we learn from these failures. Failure is a learning experience. Failure comes before success, rather. And we have to realize that. We quickly adapt and move forward toward long-term success. But you've got to be able to fail. You've got to just be able to shrug your shoulders and move on and say, I'm going to do it better the next time. I've learned this time. I've learned that does not work. I've learned how to fail. If you can learn how to fail, 50% of your job is done. Because when you learn how to fail, you succeed more. It's like the saying, I've got to be wrong a lot to get to the rights. I've got to fail a lot to get to succession. Okay? Lastly, number 5, continuous learning and growth. You know, you've got to continue to learn. We're never done learning. We've never stopped learning. I don't care what type of leader you are, who you are. The best leaders continuing to learn. The most successful people are continuing to learn. The most highest achiever on that mountain is continuing to learn. He or she's taking a book up there to the top with them, or a podcast to watch, or something to that nature, but they're continuing to learn. The mindset of looking to the next promotes continuous learning and personal growth. You cannot be successful in your business if you don't continue to learn. Things change fast. Things in our industry change fast. Business changes fast. I coach people often where they're wanting to stay where their first generation and second generation was, and now they're third generation, and they don't know how to change. You know, you've got to change. You've got to step. You've got to adapt, rather. You've got to overcome how it used to be and move on to how it's going to be. I don't even shoot for how it is. I shoot for how it's going to be, not how it is or how it was. Those days are gone. Continuous learning and growth. The mindset of looking to the next promotes continuous learning. You've got to be looking for it. You've got to be changing. You've got to realize it's going to change. By constantly seeking new knowledge and experiences, we stay relevant. And you've got to stay relevant in business or you will go under quickly. I say this often, but I think we're forgetting that within the first 5 to 10 years, 95% of companies, startup companies fail. 95%. List 100 companies, line up 100 companies in my parking lot out here, and 95 of them fail. They're gone, their history in 5 to 10 years. That leaves 5. And a couple of those are struggling. Only 1 or 2 really float to the top and prosper. And it's not because of their weather forecast either. It's because they're good in business, no matter where they are. If it's 60 degrees or 65 degrees or 70 degrees, they still make things happen. Now, it's harder. Trust me. Dayton, Ohio, first 12 days of October this year were between 65 and 72. That makes it really tough to be in heating and air conditioning. We don't have the luxury of extreme hot or extreme colds. Just in the last, November, in the last 7 to 8 days, we've been blessed with some cold weather. It got down as cold as 15. And it's supposed to go back up. But for 7 to 10 days, we've been blessed. And I'll take that all day long. Now, by constantly seeking new knowledge and experiences, we stay relevant and capable of tackling new challenges effectively. There's new challenges coming down the pike every day. It's not easy. It's hard. Nothing comes easy. Nothing. Nobody's ever put $100 in my account and say go, besides 1,000 or 1,000,000. Nothing. It's all been difficult. It's all been uphill. That mountain there's a top to that mountain for a reason, because you have to climb it. It's not flat and it's not downward. The mountain is tall and you have to climb it, and it's hard. There's nothing easy about climbing a mountain of business. Nothing. Don't know of anybody that said there is. Now, once you get there for a while, you kind of forget a little bit. You go, oh, this was, we got this down. No, you don't. You never have it down. And it was hard all the way up. And if you can't admit that, we got a problem. Okay? This forward-looking approach, combined with a willingness to embrace change and innovation, generally leads to greater achievements and sustained success. So I'll read that again. This forward-looking approach. We're looking forward. We're not looking backwards. We can learn from the past, but we're not stuck there, and we're not even stuck. Today is the only day we have. I get that. Today's the only day we have. We can't see tomorrow, but we can look for tomorrow. We can have this forward-looking approach combined with, you can't just dream and look and not make things happen. Then you're just a big dreamer. But when you dream, when you look forward and you dream forward and you apply these things with your willingness to embrace change and innovate, it generally leads to greater achievements and a sustained success. You know, when I hear let's get back to normal, it's a retreat. You're retreating. What next means it's an advance. You're advancing forward. One looks back, the other moves forward. Powerful. And what's next is not about returning. We're not returning anymore. Remember, we're not looking back. We'll learn from it and move on, but we're not looking back. What's next is not about returning. It's about evolving. It's about change. It's about improvements. It's about being better than you were yesterday. Constantly. Kaizen. Improve. And that's what it takes. That's what it takes to be successful. So when you think about this podcast, what's next? Question mark. Embracing the future of success. That's what it takes. You have to embrace it. It's not going to come to you. It's not going to knock on your door and say, let's be successful today. It's a ton of work. Remember that. So basically what we talked about was innovation and creativity, proactive adaptation, leadership and influence, resilience to failure, and continuous learning and growth. All these are required to embrace your future of success. Okay, before we wrap up, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe below. You can also support this podcast by rating and reviewing on iTunes or your preferred listening platform. Tune in next week. I've got some more good stuff for you. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Greg McAfee Show. No spaces and no underscores. Okay, thanks for watching this podcast. Carry on. God bless. Make this day the best day of your life because we're not promised tomorrow. I'll see you next week.